just jump right into it. Is Donald Trump's final reality show about to be canceled? Yet another poll this morning shows the former president, who in recent weeks dined with a Holocaust denier and anti-Semite, and who expressed his desire to cancel the Constitution because he lost the 2020 election, is now being rejected by some of the same Republican base that had stood by him over the past 6 years. The new poll from the Wall Street Journal shows Florida Governor Ron DeSantis cementing an early lead over Donald Trump in the race for the next Republican presidential nominee. DeSantis leading Trump by double digits, 14 points. He also hasn't even announced he may not even run for president. DeSantis also beats Trump in terms of likability. 86% of Republicans hold a favorable view of the governor compared to 74% for Trump. Trump leads DeSantis by 16 points among Republican voters who describe themselves as very conservative, while DeSantis leads among those who describe themselves as somewhat conservative. This comes on the heels of a USA Today Suffolk poll showing Trump trailing DeSantis by 23.
John Meacham, Ronald Reagan famously said that democracy has to be fought for every generation, that every generation has to remain vigilant. That said, I do wonder whether if the past 6 years, have been perhaps the gravest threat to American democracy, where you have a president openly talking about his attorney general arresting his presidential candidate, trying to bribe foreign leaders, and oh my God, trying to stop the peaceful transition of power. I'm wondering if these polls suggest that maybe, just maybe, that the doomsday clock has ticked back from 5 till 12 to maybe 11:45.
I hope so, and I think that there's something both thrilling and terrifying about that proposition. It's thrilling because it means that American democracy may in fact survive and even thrive, and that's what a lot of us have been arguing for and pounding on our high chairs about for a long time now. It's terrifying, or unsettling, I should say, because, and I was thinking about this last night. I was not watching what you were watching, but it occurred to me, because the worst did not happen, it's going to be incumbent on thoughtful, engaged citizens to bear in mind how close we have come to the abyss, because it's going to be easy for those who were in the enabling caucus to say, oh, you all were, you were exaggerating, it was Chicken Little. But just because something horrible did not fully come to fruition does not mean that something horrible did not very nearly come to fruition.
And still could.
And how fascinating that the same people who said, oh, we were always hyperventilating, catastrophizing, overplaying the Trump threat, are the same people who are deadly silent when Donald Trump calls about terminating the United States Constitution. So everything we warned about, whether it was his racism, his anti-Semitism, whether it was his bigotry, has all been confirmed over the past several weeks. I do wonder, John, because your Lincoln book is extraordinary, and I don't have favorite children, and I don't have favorite John Meacham presidential biographies. But if I did, this one would be right there. I'm wondering, what do you learn about this moment over the past 6 years from the year or two that you spent with Abraham Lincoln? What has he taught you, not only about the past 5-6 years, but about the years to come, how vigilant we need to be?
That democracy is entirely a human enterprise, and it's as fragile and as fallible as we are. There is the substance of our laws is vital. I mean, we have to have that, but there's also the spirit of it. Lincoln said, as I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. That expresses my definition of democracy. And if we don't recognize each other as inherently equal and dignified, then the enterprise collapses. If power is the most important thing, as opposed to any kind of principle, and I'm not playing the organ here or the kettle drums. This is pretty straightforward. You just have to believe something other than I should be in power. And that's what the 45th president believes. And if you have that moral commitment, then you are more likely to do the right thing in extremis and in hours of crisis, which is what Lincoln did. I think, we're in exactly the season that I think shaped us ever since, which is that there was a compromise on the table in 1860-61 to extend slavery to the southern parts of the Western territories and therefore avoid war. It was the kind of thing we always did. That was the kind of compromise we used to strike. And Lincoln said no. And everybody around him was saying yes. And his reason was, we have said that slavery is wrong and cannot be extended. They believe, the white South, that slavery is right and should be. And on that question hangs the entire Union. And he was like Winston Churchill in 1940. He knew that appeasement had not worked. And that's a vital lesson for us now. And it's really, really tricky, which is people don't like being told they were wrong. But we owe a duty to the truth, a duty to the facts of the matter, to remember how close we have come. And I think that, as you say, it's not over.
Not over.
But it is, look, this is a better December than we've had in 6 years.